Good morning. It is 7:48 a.m. on Saturday, May 30th, 2020. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, a lot of bad stuff going on out there. It's really kind of heartbreaking. I mean, obviously, the sorts of things being protested, right now are not new. They horrifically go on all the time. But the protests obviously are not something that is as run of the mill, although they've happened several times before. I don't talk about politics on these videos all that often, but, although riots are not fun to see, like, I'm not happy that riots are happening exactly, but what I'm not saying is that they should not riot. I'm just sorry that that people have been put in that situation because, I mean, the thing is, we can say that in an ideal world people shouldn't need to riot, but the fact is that, these things keep happening. The laws don't get changed. The situation is not improved, and so what else are people supposed to do to try to make any difference at all, to attract attention to this cause, right? Because the fact is, there's a lot of people who will say, well, I support peaceful protest but not riots, except that the problem is twofold. One is that when people do peaceful protests that don't turn into riots, nobody cares. Nothing happens. The only time that people pay any attention at all to those protests is when the protests inconvenience other people. And then as soon as that happens, the police come in and antagonize and aggressively police the protest into a riot. It seems very obvious to me that that happens. And in fact, it's so transparent that the recent incident of the people protesting the lockdowns come in to the Capitol building with AR-15s and aggressively shouting at the police in there. And what happens there? Nothing. They're stoic and they don't move a muscle. But, sit in a arms locked circle blocking the road and the police will fire tear gas at you. As long as you're black and protesting police brutality, anyway. What a messy, gross situation. It's hard to know how best to help. I've contributed some money to some of the organizations that help protesters who are arrested and that sort of thing, with bail and all of that. But yeah, it's pretty awful, and people are getting hurt, and I hope that not too many people get hurt, as few as possible people get hurt. But of course, the whole problem here is that people are getting hurt without the riots. And nobody wants to do anything about it. I shouldn't say nobody, obviously, Anyway. So, to finish this video out on a slightly lighter note, Rocket woke me up pretty early this morning. And so I decided to experiment with bringing him back inside after, letting him out to pee, and bringing him up on my bed with me while I tried to lay down and get some more sleep. It did not go well. He basically just wanted to climb all over me and bite my hair and bite my toes and jump all over and then dig at the sheets, and it was just constant. And so eventually I got up, came and sat at my computer, and now So, that's how things go. Of course, I mean, part of that is that he's just not used to being on the bed and all. So, all right. Well, I I hope that if you are impacted at all by these protests and everything, that you are able to stay safe out there. And obviously, we're all still dealing with the pandemic. Things are a mess right now. So, take care of yourselves out there, everybody. All right. Talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes. Well, I'll be continuing my rewatch of The Legend of Korra.